Today we are live trading the New York session. I'm currently looking at 4 pairs to trade for this session. We're in pre-market at the moment, about 50 minutes until the market opens. So we're looking at GBP USD, GBP JPY, gold, and we're also looking at the S&P 500. So with that said, let's get into some analysis and reasoning behind why I'm looking at these pairs and what I'm looking for from the pairs. So starting off with some higher time frame analysis on GBP USD. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see we've had this pretty strong bearish structure for the past few weeks, past few months. But more recently, we've had this break of structure to the upside here. And I am looking for a continuation of this to the upside. Now, if we drop to the 30-minute time frame, we can see we've got some bullish momentum. And what I'm looking at here is a low and a high, followed by a higher low and a higher high. Higher low, just about a higher high, and then we've got all these little highs and lows here, which we can see are getting higher and higher and higher. So I'm trying to work with that momentum and continue upwards for this session. If we go off that tool for a second, I had an order block marked out on the 15-minute time frame. As you can see, we had this downwards candle here before the impulsive move up. Price has tapped into that very nicely. And on the 5-minute time frame, we tapped into it and rejected very, very strongly. Now, ideally, it would have been better if we could come down and then create a high and then break it, and then off of this go long. But that's not what's happened, unfortunately. So we just have to deal with that. Price is looking extremely bullish at the moment. We just got to find an opportunity to get in with a decent sized stop loss, because at the moment this is just ridiculous. Moving on to GBP JPY, it's a similar sort of thing. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, we've had some bullish momentum in the past week, past few days. We can mark that out by a high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, and this current high. Now, there's two things I'm looking at the moment for this session. So on this pair, I'm either looking at shorting into this range, into this order block, which is on the 15-minute time frame here, or waiting for a retracement into the order block and then a long position for a continuation upwards. At the moment, we've had a strong rejection off of this fair value gap on the 30-minute time frame. I'm pretty confident we could still push down a little more during the session. So if we mark it out, we've got pre-market open, session open, not necessarily session close, but just the time I want to stop trading. So we could still get a rejection into this zone here and a continuation upwards. Otherwise, we'd be looking at just a short down into that order block. Now, moving on to gold. Gold, my bias was short. And what we can see here is on the 30-minute time frame, we are extremely, extremely bearish, and we have been for literally like 2, 3, 4 months. Zooming in on the 30-minute time frame, we had an area of consolidation right here, which I'm going to mark out for you here. Accumulation, consolidation, same thing essentially. We've tapped into this twice. We go for a third tap now. What I'm looking for is a rejection and then a short position to the downside for a continuation of this downwards trend. So what I'm looking for is a push into this zone to take out the liquidity resting in the market here, followed by a break of structure, and we can go short. At that point, we would be targeting the lows we see here, as well as points of interest across this sort of area here, potentially even these two down here. So for the S&P, the market hasn't actually opened properly yet. When I trade the S&P, I do want to wait for an actual market open at 2:30. I don't want to be trading pre-market. So we have taken out some liquidity in the market on the S&P. We've got this point here, which we just swept. We've also got some more prominent levels up here, followed by this level here, and of course this bit here. So the aim for this session will either be a rejection based off of this sweep of liquidity, or a continuation up to take out this level of liquidity. What I'm looking for to enter a position is going to be a order block. And we can see one here on the 1 hour time frame. So if we can get a rejection into this zone here off of the 1 hour breaker structure to the upside, I'll be looking to go long. Breaking it down to the 5 minute, we have a bit of a better order block within the market here, which I will mark out as well. Just depends if price comes down that far. It's quite a long way to go. Now, I don't necessarily trade off of the Fibonacci retracement, but I'm going to put one in just to try and gauge how far we're looking. Okay, so we could also have this zone of consolidation here, which would make sense. So along with this order block, I'm actually going to get rid of that larger one and mark in the zone of accumulation we have right here, which could be an interesting zone for a retracement and a rejection. Now at this point, I'm looking for a pullback into either this zone or this zone, off of which I'm waiting for a breaker structure to the upside on at least the 5 minute time frame. And then we will target probably the -0.027 or this liquidity level here. So the market's just opened and there's been a couple of changes. GBP USD is now back into this range after that rejection, so we can look to go long as soon as we get that 5 minute breaker structure. GJ is really not that close at all to the order block that I want to take it off, so we probably won't be trading this. Gold has done a complete switch up, so it's broken through all the levels of accumulation and it's actually swept the liquidity of this high here. As you can see, we've had the liquidity sweep. Now, I'm not too sure if I want to go short on gold, and that's because of the lower time frame movements. We've got pretty bullish momentum. We've had the low, the high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. It really doesn't seem like it's ready to reverse. I mean, I know we've swept this liquidity here, which means we could, very well be ready to just take out all these levels that we've got here, here, and here. But I'm not too sure, so this is something that I will trade potentially if we do get the breaker structure, but I'm a little bit nervous about it. The S&P has consolidated up here, swept up a little more. We can pull the fib up, and we now have a retracement down, which is exactly what I'm looking for. We want a retracement down into this zone here, so we can take the long position up to this liquidity resting here. Moving back to GJ, it seems like we've actually just taken out this entirety of the order block, which is not what I was looking for at all. I was looking for a reaction off of the order block. However, it does seem like we've had the rejection off of this fair value gap. Again, we've got the first rejection here, and followed through, we've got a nice rejection again at this point here. So I'm still happy to enter if we get a suitable rejection and break a structure. GJ is also selling off, and the S&P has just hit my alert. On gold, we formed a new low, which means as soon as we get a closure below this point here, I can technically enter short. So gold has just broken structure, and we are getting ready to enter a short position. Still just waiting to see if we can get a movement back up into this level here and a rejection. So we're just waiting for a rejection after a retracement into this zone here, after which point I will enter short. We pulled into the level. Let's see if we can get a strong rejection. We are now in a short position. We've got stops just above this level here. So we're about halfway to our take profit level. As you can see, we came down pretty sharply after we sold. I ended up putting stops just above this level here and targets at the lows we see here. We made a strong downwards movement followed by a little retracement up into this slight order block here. Had some weight rejections, and it seems like we're continuing to sell off now. So we continue to push down, and we are almost at take profit, just in line with these lows here. A little further to go and I'll be all out the position. Almost there. A little further. And we are out of the position. So that's the trade. In total, we made $6,840, or just a little bit over that. The market's still continuing to push, so had we put a take profit 2 in, we probably would have made a little bit more. But I'm still happy with it.